I would just say I don't think you have anything to lose. I really don't. I just don't think, as scary as making a change can be, I really do believe that there's probably always a chance to go back to whatever it is you left if you really didn't make the right decision. And I think that there's really never any reason not to take a chance and to make the change. I think change is such a good thing. I think everybody should make changes. I really do.
Welcome to the Amani Experience Podcast. In this podcast, you will experience wisdom, advice, and stories from creatives all over the world. Your host is Amani Roberts, who is a DJ, music producer, professor, avid book reader, and developing salsa dancer. On the show, we love to share the stories of creative professionals, especially people who've gone from the corporate life to the creative life. Once again, welcome to the Amani Experience Podcast.
Welcome to episode 23 of the Amani Experience Podcast. For this episode, we are talking with Colleen Reyes. I'm going to read you her bio right now. As a Hawaiian island resident for more than 25 years, Colleen has worked in the hospitality industry for more than 27 years. She's worked for the state's top hospitality companies, including Marriott International and MCNA Incorporated. She brings extensive island knowledge and a great talent for uncovering what is important to both a company and a guest to create a tailored experience that exceeds expectation. Fun fact about this interview is that we sat down and talked the day after the ballistic missile scare in Hawaii. I was in Hawaii when that happened. It was crazy for about 15 or 20 minutes, but of course we survived. It was a little frenzied for the first or the next couple of days, but still had a great trip. I'm so happy I got a chance to chat with Colleen. As you can tell through the interview, she has a pure heart. She's so warm. And I think that you'll really enjoy her perspective on things, including what it takes to be a good BMC. So, thank you very much for listening. Make sure you subscribe and leave a rating. And to the show we go. So welcome back to the Amani Experience Podcast. I'm so excited to have Colleen Reyes here with us. Good morning.
Aloha, Amani.
So, Colleen, we're here. We always love to do a geographic check-in where we are. So tell the listeners where we are right now. What city, state, all that.
Sure. We are in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Right. So we're in Honolulu, Hawaii. So the Money Experience Podcast goes on the road for an episode.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get right to it. We love to talk to our guests about their career and why they made the leap in from the corporate life to their creative entrepreneur life. So maybe we'll go back and we'll start right before we met. So we met in Marriott almost 17 years ago.
We did.
So time flies. Explain to the listeners kind of where your career with Marriott started and take us kind of to current day.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I started in Wailea, Maui, at Stouffer Resort. I don't know if everyone remembers Stouffer's. An oceanfront resort there. Started when I was 25, and shortly thereafter, about 2 years later, Stouffer became Renaissance. Then Renaissance became Marriott. I stayed with that company for about 10 years. I started in the kind of like as an administrative role, went into the leisure sales market, and then ended up in the group market. So when I left, I was selling 10 hotels for them here in Hawaii, and I was handling the insurance market as a vertical. And I was aligned with a local partner, a DMC, a destination management company. We worked a lot together, and they felt that I would be a good fit for their side of the business. So I went over in 2005 and worked for that company, really kind of getting my arms around the destination piece, working on all the islands on a really regular basis. I did eventually move from Maui to Oahu. So I was in Maui for 15 years, now Oahu for 15. And really learning about another side of the business and opening my horizons to more suppliers and different types of clients. You know, I'd always worked with one specific client segment on the hotel side. And then eventually, I was there for about 9 years, and that led me to opening my own business. I have a business partner, and it was really, this has been her brainchild, her vision. I never really thought I would be a business owner. And she had approached me because her skill set is on the operations side, and mine is on the sales side. And we thought that we would be great partners, which we are because we complement one another. And since that time, it's been almost 4 years. I haven't looked back. It's been a really great move for me, a really good fit.
Nice. Now, some people, you might hear the birds in the background. So just to paint the picture, we're outside on Colleen's lanai. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Good. On your lanai, on a golf course, so the birds are chirping. So it's very cool, very peaceful. It's awesome. So that'll paint you the good picture. And thank you for sharing your story. What motivated you 4 years ago almost to really take the leap to go from working for someone else to joining up with your business partner and going about it with the two of you all?
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Again, I mean, it was really, her name is Tatiana. It was really her brainchild, and I'm a quick processor, Amani, so I did a pros and cons list. There were not really many pros for leaving my other job. It, great company, very successful. They treated me really well. I had a really good position there. I was growing very fast with them. But the things that were cons would only really ever change if I was in business for myself. And my husband and I felt like at that time in our life that we could sustain it if for some reason it didn't work out, if there was failure in my future. We felt that financially and emotionally where we were at in our lives, we could handle that together. So I thought, why not? What do I have to lose? I won't know unless I try. And I'm so glad that I did, and just really grateful for my partner for that opportunity.
Great. I'm glad too. Congrats.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
In your opinion, what's important for creative professionals such as you and I to succeed in today's business environment?
I think two things. I think if you are working alone, to trust yourself. And I think if you're working with a partner, to trust your partner. You have to learn to put your trust in yourself or someone else and to let go. I think that's really important.
Okay, and how did you learn to let go? Because that's a difficult thing for people, including myself, to learn how to do. So how did you learn that skill?
It was very difficult. When we first started out, I knew how strong Tatiana, my partner, was at what she did. I knew how good she was, but I hadn't had the experience of letting go and letting someone just do what they do and knowing that they can do it well. And we did have some struggles in the beginning because it's almost like you micromanage because you're worried because you're not touching it. But once you do put that trust in that other person and then building their respect so they have that same trust in you, you really start to harmonize. You really get in sync, and then you're stronger together, you're more successful. It just takes time. Yeah. And it's also, if you're going to tell someone that you trust them, you really have to give them the opportunity. It's pretty hard to say to someone, oh, I'm going to let you go do this, but then micromanage them and not let them do it. So you have to give people the opportunity to do their best in order for them to do their best. And I feel that after time, we did that, and now we have a really great synergy.
Good advice. And then 4 years ago you started. When was it that you realized, okay, this is actually going to work, we're going to be able to grow and thrive and hire more people? When was kind of the turning point for your entrepreneurship kind of career, running your own ship?
This answer might really surprise you. It was probably within a month of when we started.
Nice.
We had such a strong reception from our industry partners, even from competitors. Obviously, being two women in business, that was, you always get that woman, female power. Family, friends, people kind of saying, I always thought you were destined to do something like this. And, our response was like, really? You did? We didn't know that. So it was really right away that we started to see that success. Even though we started to see it early and we continue to see it, we feel very blessed and grateful. But we do have many days that we still feel afraid. What if we don't continue to be successful? What if we don't continue to bring in business. So I think you always have that. But I think right away we knew that we could do it, that the potential was there. We felt very supported.
Good. And when you have those days where fear kind of creeps in, what do you do to kind of keep it away and not submit to it?
We take turns cheerleading each other. So if I'm feeling, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We just lost this piece of business, or maybe something that we thought was going to be a much bigger program, maybe it's kind of, falling apart, then she will cheer me on and say, you know what, we're going to get the next one, or this is what we could have done differently or better, and then vice versa. If she's out operating a program and things are just really not going well, then I say to her, you know what, maybe this wasn't the right piece of business for us, but now we know for next time. So we just are constantly trying to cheer each other on, and sometimes we come together and no cheering necessary, and sometimes we're doing it together. So, yes, okay. That's what I think, really just trying to keep each other with positive energy and knowing that it will go in the right direction.
Definitely. So don't forget you have a cheerleader in LA as well. So,
yes,
cheering you on also. You're welcome.
I appreciate that. Right back at you.
Thank you. Tell us, why do you love what you do?
I love certain aspects of what I do, and what I really love about it is the people. I really, really enjoy being around people and learning their stories. So a lot of times you might meet a client that may not know a lot about me, but I would know a lot about them because I'm so interested. And I think it can borderline almost seem nosy or like have an agenda, but I am genuinely interested. I love to find out, what's your routine? How do you wake up? What do you do? How do you take your coffee? Do you have a dog? Do you sleep in your birthday suit? I like all these little details. I love learning about new companies and different types of business, what motivates people, how they, especially in our business, we do a lot of incentives. I love learning, how do they determine the qualifications and what motivates their employees. I think that's really interesting. I'm very passionate about people, and that's what I like the most because I get to spend time with people.
Yes, I can relate, and you've learned lots of information about me throughout the years, so I can relate 2 times.
Thank you.
So if you were going to give a quick, maybe 15-second description of what is a destination management company, how would you kind of fill in the blank?
Yeah, thank you. It's a great question. We are a partner in that destination. So we take it a step further and we would know the logistics. So if you don't live in a destination and you're going to go visit, you might be able to Google where to go, or you might be able to check with someone, hey, what's your favorite restaurant? But the boots on the ground, or the person in the destination, can tell you, hey, you don't want to go there around 3 o'clock, there's traffic, or, that restaurant really isn't quite as good as the rating. Or, it looks really big online, but you aren't going to be able to do your reception for 50 as comfortably as you think. So it's really having someone that can breathe life into it, someone that's living the aloha, the experience, and they are your destination partner. So all of the things that you would do in that destination, they are helping you to make that a reality.
Right. Okay. And just to kind of go back, you've been here for over 30 years, but where were you born and raised?
Thank you. I've been here just about 30 years. I made 30 years in August.
Yes.
I was born outside of Chicago and then my family moved to Jackson Hole, Wyoming when I was 12. And I moved to Maui when I was 18.
Yes.
So raised in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Jackson Hole, Wyoming to Hawaii.
To Maui.
Quite a difference.
Yes, a very big difference. 2 terrific places.
Nice, cool. I love to share people where they grew up, where they've moved, because I think it's important to realize that, just because you grew up in a certain area doesn't mean you have to stay there, and there's lots of opportunity anywhere in the world. So, don't be afraid to take a risk and move somewhere. So you did that. So almost 30 years later, look at you now.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course, sure. What is something that scares you?
I think we have an unbelievable team. There's only 5 of us, and I have never really worked with a group of people that I can say, we genuinely have love in our hearts for one another. In Hawaii, the term for family is ohana, and we really have that sense of ohana. We've opened up to one another. We've allowed each other into one another's ohanas, and it's such a great synergy, and there's so much love and respect there. I guess my fear is that maybe we'll bring new people in and we won't have that. Maybe someone from the existing group will need to leave. We work so well together, and everyone is so hardworking. That would be my biggest fear, that we would lose that, or that when we have new people as we grow, that it'll be hard to maintain that.
Okay, well, let's see what happens, but I think you've got a good culture established, so it might not be as bad as you think. The DMC industry is very crowded across the world, especially here in Hawaii. It's very crowded. How do you rise above all the noise and distinguish yourself and your business?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Especially with DMCs, a lot of us, we really are doing similar services, right? So we might be booking transportation, activities, we're going to know a lot of the same knowledge in the destination. Two ways that we can really set ourselves apart. One is our level of service. It's one thing to book a bus for someone. It's another thing to be there at 6 a.m. when they're dispatching it and be there with them. It's another thing to know a lot of the drivers and to have that relationship. My partner is very embedded with our vendors. She has great relationships. That really helps. Another thing is creativity. Having someone... you can give someone that's so-called cookie cutter, but if you are taking time to cultivate, maybe it's a vendor or a resource that isn't mainstream. Maybe they haven't worked in the corporate environment before, but you're taking time to shepherd them through a process and introduce them to a new industry, and then in turn, you can bring that to your client. I think that's of real value, because I think you want to, with internet access, everybody has this reach. And I think if you can uncover something that they can't get or that the competition can't get, I think that's going to set you apart. But you have to do your homework to do that. You have to spend the time with that vendor or with that new product or service and cultivate that and invest your time and energy, and then in turn share that with your client. Right. So consistently doing the work, homework, and being creative sounds like a common theme. Yes. Good. Tell us how has a failure or an apparent failure set you up for later success? Do you have a favorite failure of yours? Oh, I might need time for that one. Gosh.
Take your time and think. Gosh. No worries.
I just made up a new word. Gosh. Gosh and ish. Let's see. Gosh, a failure. I feel like there's so many, Amani.
Just pick one. We don't have to just pick one. Like for me, I would answer this question. I would be like, I went to Scratch DJ Academy, and you go through this whole set of classes, like 6 classes, in order to pass the course. Like in order to pass and graduate and get your platinum record and certificate, you have to get 400 out of 500. You do all these sets. You do 6 different DJ sets. You get scored, and when it was come time to graduate, I had 398. So I was 2 points away, and they wouldn't pass me. And so it was quite humbling. It was really humbling, because there were people there that were much younger than me that just whizzed through, and it was frustrating. But that gave me the hunger to go back the next semester, do it again, get one of the highest scores ever. And that's no guarantee, because you still have to perform, and you can always mess up a performance. So that really taught me to be resilient and to not give up, because we're not allowed to give up. And we're not allowed to give up. And so that would be my favorite failure. So if you have like a similar story, or whatever you think of.
I can't think of anything. There's so many.
Well, just pick one.
Gosh, I just really can't think of a favorite failure.
Okay. Well, maybe it hasn't happened yet, but that's okay. It's good. It's all right. Well, if you think of one, interrupt me during one of the next questions, and we'll get to it. You'll do it?
Yes, I will.
Tell me about the darkest time in your life, how you got through that, and what did you learn from that experience?
I don't think I've had a really dark time. Okay, yes. So something transpired in my childhood when I was 17. I won't bore everyone with what that was. But it really did change the course of my relationship with my family at the time and the path of where I was going. I was headed to, an all-girls private Catholic school on the mainland. And when this transpired, it changed my path. So I moved to Hawaii on my own with a friend, and my life completely changed. And that would be the best thing that's ever happened to me, was moving to this state.
Okay. Good. Now, if we were going to go back to 21-year-old Colleen, you're here on the island. You've been here for like 3 years.
Yes.
All right. And share some advice. What advice would you share with 21-year-old Colleen?
I would tell her to not be so worried it'll work out. I used to worry a lot because it was so, I had no car. I hitchhiked everywhere. I worked 3 jobs. I was going to a community college. It was really a struggle, and I wouldn't accept help from anyone. And I would probably tell myself it's going to be okay, because it turned out more than okay.
So why do you feel you wouldn't accept help from anyone? You're just...
It had to do with that thing that had transpired in my family.
Okay.
But, that all worked itself out. Part of that was me being young, life and experience, and not knowing. I think when I turned 25, I woke up one day and said, oh, I get it now. People have problems, and this is totally normal. Now I have terrific relationships with my family, and very grateful for my upbringing, and I think that's what it was.
Cool. And then nowadays, you seem to do a really, really good job of kind of staying medium and not worrying. How do you manage your anxiety now so you don't worry as much as you did when you were younger?
Well, I am probably one of the world's best delegators, and my business partner, Tatiana, does a lot of the worrying on our professional side, and my husband has worried more this morning, Imani, for you and I for a week.
Oh, no.
So some people are natural worriers, and now I don't have to worry about it because I have Tatiana and Oscar doing the worrying for me, and they both keep me in line.
Well, you're lucky. Very good.
Very, very true.
Okay. What is one new habit that you've added to your daily routine in the past year or so that's been most beneficial?
Great question. 2 things. I have always battled with weight and exercise, always doing some sort of a program and then getting off, losing a lot of weight, then gaining it back. I probably in my adult life, been on 7 or 8 major diets, lost 30 pounds, gained it back, gained more. So in the last couple of years, I made a change to never go on a so-called diet again, but to regularly really maintain my health and exercise and do that 80-20 rule. And if I, have a month where I haven't been as active as I should, I don't say, okay, well, I'm going to go on this, quick fire program. I just put one foot in front of the other and start again and go for a run or go to a CrossFit class or whatever that might be, Pilates. Just continuing to maintain. And I think in the past 2 years, I've been more consistent with my fitness than I ever have been in my adult life. And then the other thing is really getting back to my faith. So whether it's going to church or praying, I'd like to go to church more often, or praying. So praying on a regular basis, just really, I do believe in a higher power and really focusing on that. So I think those 2 things have been really positive for me.
Great. So just because we had that amazing mud pie last night, you're not going to stress and just go for a run later on in the week. That's what I'm hearing, correct?
Yeah, no, actually, it's almost the opposite, because I did have that amazing mud pie, and I know I'm having this, weekend where I'm not practicing 80-20. I'm doing 80-20, but it's more 80 on the other side.
This is true.
That I am saying to myself, I just got to get right back on it on Monday, right? So that's what I'm telling myself. I'm going to enjoy. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm going to have my good friend Imani here. I have a weekend off with my husband. We're going to enjoy ourselves. And on Monday, I'm going to be, eating clean and going for a walk or Pilates or whatever that might be.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. What lesson in life took you the longest to learn?
Oh, there's so many. I'm really a bad learner. They say like 3 times. I need it like 16 or 17, and then I finally get it. I think, I can be a very self-absorbed, very selfish person. And I think also I'm the youngest in my family, so sometimes I do have that like me syndrome. So I think what's taken me the longest to learn is that it doesn't have to be about me. I don't have to always tell my story. And if I just sit back and take it all in, I'll learn a lot more about the people around me, and then I'll get my turn. Because when it comes to professionally, I feel like I am a really good listener and I learn about my clients. Personally, I think I put the spotlight on myself more, and I'm learning I don't need to do that it will come. Everyone is going to have their day to have their spotlight.
Okay, fair enough. Every great person has a sentence. What is your sentence? My sentence would be, I love to help people unlock their creativity by teaching them how to DJ. What is your sentence?
Why not?
That was a good answer. You were ready for that.
Ready.
Okay, we're really big readers on the Money Experience podcast. So is there 1, 2, or 3 books that you feel people should stop what they're doing right away and start to read it immediately?
Imani, I'm so embarrassed. I'm not a great reader.
Okay,
I'm really
right.
not. I guess books that have left a mark for me.
Definitely.
There's a Christmas book. I think it's called The Christmas Tree. And I read it every year, but right now, the name is escaping me.
Okay.
It's a short book, and it's about kind of the story of the tree at Rockefeller Center. It's not a true story.
Okay.
But it's very good, and it's an easy read. I really like that. I like The Giving Tree.
Okay, yeah.
Really like that book. And I guess I really like A Prayer for Owen, Meany.
Great book.
I like that book,
yes.
too. Yeah. So those would be the books that have made an impact.
Yeah, excellent choices.
I'm sorry to say I don't read as much as...
That's okay. We'll go to the bookstore after this interview, and we'll get you one to start you off with.
Let's do it.
And go from
I'm
there.
all for that.
Yes, great. Who was the most influential person for you growing up?
My mom.
Okay. And is there any special lesson she left with you or continues to leave with you?
That thing that transpired happened with my mom. Mm-hmm. So she went from being the most influential to probably teaching me some of the hardest lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, moms. Okay. Tell people how they can find you and your company online, social media. What's your website, first of all, so they can find you?
Yeah, thank you. islandstyleinnovations.com.
Okay.
And we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Yes.
I have to be honest, I'm learning about all of this through you.
Yes.
I don't want to give off a fake facade here to the public. And I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Good. We're always learning, so nothing fake about that. For sure.
I like that.
All right, so definitely thank you for taking time to not only host me when I'm here in Hawaii, it's awesome, but to spend some quick time with us during this interview. I saw Colleen maybe a little bit over a year ago. We were at MPI, less than a year ago, MPI CBS, and we hadn't seen each other in like over 10 years. It was a while. And you walked by and said, Colleen, you said, Amani. And so we talked, and it was like no time had passed. So we caught up really quickly and kept in touch and came to Hawaii. So thank you very much. Thank you for being on the podcast. I love watching your business from afar, and I'm happy we're going to get the chance to work together in the future. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Amani. You have been a treat coming back into my life. I always learn when I'm around you. I always feel good. You have such terrific energy. You're loving and positive, and yeah, I just really appreciate you. I'm super grateful for you.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you. So whenever we leave the show, we always like for our guests to give the audience some last-minute advice. So as we go, and we're going to head off to the beach now. So we're going to go to maybe, North Shore, West Shore. But before we go, what last-minute advice would you give to people out there who are kind of maybe considering taking a leave from corporate to creative, or just kind of looking for some additional motivation? What would you say?
Yeah, I would just say I don't think you have anything to lose. I really don't. I just don't think, as scary as making a change can be, I really do believe that there's probably always a chance to go back to whatever it is you left if you really didn't make the right decision. And I think that there's really never any reason not to take a chance and to make the change. I think change is such a good thing. I think everybody should make changes. I really do. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Amani.
All right.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you for listening to the Amani Experience Podcast. You can check out the show notes on amaniexperience.com/podcast. Please remember to leave us a review on the platform you are listening on, and share this podcast with anyone who you feel would benefit from listening. See you soon on our next episode.